Senator Menendez.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell, I haven't had the pleasure of working with you, so I don't know your views as deeply, and is that since your position that you're nominated for is global in nature, I have a series of questions I want to pursue to get an understanding of where you're coming from in that regard. For the first time in history, the Republican majority in the House passed a bill conditioning aid to Israel. At the same time, I've been sensing contradictory messages from the White House as to whether or not President Biden is considering or would consider placing conditions on aid to Israel. What is your view on creating conditions on aid to Israel?
Well, look, Senator Menendez, I think you know this, that all aid at some level is conditioned. We don't just send money out the door. We go through a careful process, both at the State Department and the interagency. So I just want to just begin that.
I'm not talking about the normal
I know you're not.
Conditions.
I know you're not. But my own personal view is, and I believe that this is the view of the President and the administration, is that we are standing side by side with Israel in an absolutely desperate fight, that they're facing enormous challenges, the worst terrorist attack in their history, largest loss of life. I do believe that we have been careful publicly and very clear privately about some of our concerns about the conduct of the military operation. And we want to make clear that there is a difference between Hamas fighters and Palestinian civilians, also, and particularly children and women. And those conversations are ongoing. That's what you do with close allies and partners. You speak directly to them of their concerns.
I get the conversations, and I agree with them.
Yeah. So I think that's...
But the question is creating conditionality a way to achieve that goal or to hamstring? I mean, look, I'm for our military telling Israel how it meets the challenge of Hamas in an urban setting. I'm not sure that the standards that we seek of Israel were met in Afghanistan and Iraq by the United States. So the question in my mind is it, you're going to be sitting in a position not only of authority but of advice. Would it be your advice to create conditionality on aid to Israel at this time?
It would not be at this time.
Let me ask you this. With reference to Iran, I was heartened to hear some of the things you said. You called it a strategic nemesis. Would you consider Iran an enemy of the United States?
I think they're an antagonist, Senator, yes.
Well, yeah. So here's a country that continues to violate its obligations under the JCPOA that other countries still maintained with, that is not forthcoming with the IAEA about their enrichment operations, where I don't think we clearly know what they have and don't come clean with their past pursuit of nuclear weapons. Here's a country that is giving Russia drones in Ukraine. Here's a country through its proxies that is trying to strike at our troops in Iraq and Syria. I don't know how much more it comes before one says, yeah, that's an enemy of the United States. And so is it time to seek to internationalize the sanctions that we've had? Because we've had sanctions, but of course, internationalizing sanctions are the way in which we ultimately achieve greater results.
Senator, I can't disagree with anything that you've said here, and I think if confirmed, frankly, I would welcome the opportunity to have greater discussions on this, both with you and the team at the State Department. I do want to underscore that we are contesting them significantly. You saw the statement that Secretary Austin made the day before yesterday, that yes, some of their associated groups do occasionally attack us or try to, many times ineffectively, but when we strike back at them, we always hit our target. I just want to say that I think the administration remains absolutely resolute that we will persecute our interests. We will take necessary military.
I appreciate the tit for tat, but I believe a stronger message has to be sent. Let me ask you, do you believe that we should be selling F-16s to Turkey when it continues to not allow Sweden to move forward in its accession to NATO, when it continues to threaten its neighbor, the Hellenic Republic, when it continues to jail lawyers and journalists and human rights activists and a long list of issues that it faces. Is that in the national interest and security of the United States?
So, look, I think you point out the complexities of our relationship with Turkey, and there are some real concerns here. I can't get into the details. I'm not specifically briefed about where things stand, particularly Senator on the F-16, but I will, if I'm confirmed, be involved in those decisions. I will say that they are involved in many things that concern us, and I'm confident that we will, over time, admit Finland into NATO, despite some of the challenges that we've had procedurally. I will also say there is a modest balance here. There are things that Turkey has assisted us with. They have assisted us in the counter-ISIS campaign. They've helped us in the food, the transshipment of grain through the Black Sea. They have done some things that have been in our interests, and so we have to.
But in the weight of it, I would just suggest to you that those few things far don't outweigh the various elements of which there are negativity. I have a series of other questions. Obviously, I don't have the time for them. I'm going to submit them for the record. I'd really like a responsive answer so that I can decide on your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much.